work towards the dialogue in their philosophy and the queer theoretical discourse. It will look at the cross cultural framework that expands the interpretive possibilities of queer literature. And I'll begin by placing the theoretical context. I want to quote Gary Lukav, who says in about the realm of innumerable possibilities that reality is what we take to be true. What we take to be true is what we believe. What we believe is based upon our perceptions. What we perceive depends upon what we look for. What we look for depends upon what we think. What we think depends upon what we perceive, and what we perceive determines what we believe. What we believe determines what we take to be true, and what we take to be true is our reality. The consumption of theory is both to intercede in the continuity and accord of common sense, and also to interrupt the dominant and dominating strategies of generalization. Its importance being to unsettle the complacency. Theory forms the basis for any form of conceptual understanding. Scrutinizing from the Jain theory and furthermore making it the researcher's epistemological standpoint position, which posits that knowledge is the focal characteristic possessed by the soul. The self-determination of knowledge through the medium of soul is essential to further determine an object, which is reminiscence of the doctrine of transcendental unity of perception of Kant. His doctrine also seconds the analogous thought process that mind and matter both work in tandem to produce knowledge. Knowledge is the soul's inalienable attribute without which no soul can exist. The existence of awareness and content perforce involves the reality of a relation between them, without which there would be no knowledge. Knowledge is of five kinds that include perceptual cognition and scriptural knowledge that are indirect and immediate as they are acquired through sense organs and the mind. On the other hand, clairvoyance, telepathy, and omniscience are direct and immediate. Jain thinker Kunta Kunda's empirical point is that the omniscient perceives and knows the reality in its entirety. Consequently, the Jains did not hesitate to grant omniscience and the theory of Anekantvad equal weightage. In accordance with their philosophy, the individual form of an object cannot be established unless knowledge of its interrelations is assumed. The theory of knowledge leads to the Jain theory of Anekantvad, whose origins, according to B.K. Matilal, can be traced back to Buddha's Vibhajyavad. Buddha tried to avoid metaphysical assumptions as he felt that the transempirical could not be empirically described but only realized and attained, as opposed to the logical positivists within time, who would appease the intellectual confusion created by philosophical jargon and metaphysical beliefs. I will move to the fact parts about the points about Anekantavad, which lays emphasis on the fact that no judgment holds true completely. It is informed, conditioned to some extent, and constituted by the perception of the mind. Thus, reality, as per the tenets of Jainism, is an inalienable complex of antagonistic dimensions of permanence and change, existence and non-existence, one and many, universality and particularity, which are the facets. Tantamount to the complexity that Anekantavad grapples, multifarious are the names designated to it, and the most significant purpose drawing upon Anekantavad is because it harmonizes the conflicting views found among partial observations. It is applied as a resolution of the paradox of causality. Nature of reality, according to this theory, is to be determined in compliance with the evidence of experience, undeterred by the contemplations of abstract logic. Amartya Chandra in his Samaya Sara explains, for instance, Anekantvad as any real object in the world that is made of paradoxes, which could be identical and distinct at the same time. It lays emphasis on the fact that anything possesses mutually contradictory traits, characteristics, or modes coexisting simultaneously therein. Factually, these opposing traits or modes forming an unassailable part and intrinsic nature of it provide the true exposition of reality. I'm going to now uh, jump a bit to give the context of the novel that I'm going to study through it, which is Shani Mutu's Serious Blooms and Night. It is a Caribbean paradise that appears at its inception very virile and picturesque, which is nonetheless inherently abysmal as a repercussion of the colonial depravity. It praises the vehemence of the both heterosexist rediscovery and foisted imperial civility, where she is a double diasporic herself. Although they are both diverse, yet they are mutually reinforcing discourses. The staging of a fantastical land stands the various modes of racial and sexual oppression that thrive in Canada, the Caribbean, and in India. There are various factors that have been shown to affect the queer people in diaspora, and we are going to look at these diasporic solidarities through Anekantavad, and how we are now going to posit this kind of understanding through the hybrid realities which are understood in this context. The shifting sexual identities and hybridity. The sexual hybridity of Mutu's characters befuddles unyielding binaries while concurrently uncovering its intersecting geminies. There is an astonishing text-reader correlation appearing in the novel from the rebuttal of the text to overtly designate or names the examples being the case of male to female in a transsexual Tyler, lesbian in the case of Mala Ramchandran's mother Sarah and her aunt Lavinia, and Toto Mohanty. The novel highlights the importance of coming to terms with one's queer identity through cooperation, shared as expressed by the key phrase shared queerness. There is a link to the central image of the serious plant, the link between incest and homosexuality, which is not coincidentally. Both share a structure of secrecy that needs to be disclosed through coming out narratives. The silence around these issues are constructed and they embody the epistemology of the closet. Tyler perceives his homosexuality as being closer to Mala's queerness, and yet we will understand this kind of queerness in the context of Anekantwad, the diaspora, the hybridity that it brings out between the two nations, between the diasporic people, and how the characters themselves that inhabit this novel are actually in between. They inhabit in between spaces, and their own recognition is very much related and connected to the nature around them. So very beautifully, this novel unravels, and through this paper, the researcher is able to make connections between the theory of hybridity by Homi Bhabha, Anekantwad of Jainism, and the reality of diaspora, people in diaspora. Tyler, in his own self-recognition as both outcast and outsider, he personifies that which his community denies, that is the hybrid and often fractured nature of its own collective consciousness. In his cross-dressing homosexuality and entry into a traditionally female profession, Tyler transgresses multiple codes of convention and engages in numerous border crossings, which better reflect his own multiple positioning as a hybrid subject. What Anekantwad does to this kind of gender and sexuality studies is it enables an Aporia to inhabit such differing notions of sexual identities that are not very much accepted due to legal issues as well as societal sanctions. In which beautifully serious flower becomes the epitome of metamorphosis and mutability, thus functioning as a metaphor for queer identities and also a metaphor to explain Anekantwad in detail. That is attached to Mala's traumatic memories. The duality of the plant, repulsive like Chandin's episode, and the communion with nature serves to underline other border crossings. So we understand a lot about the hybridity of and the liminal spaces that the characters and the ecofeminism and the nature around it inhabits. And we also understand how these nations actually uh, understand diversity and inclusion through the trope of Anekantwad. So, Ceres Bloomsbury Knight tentatively poses questions of representation for those whose subject positions are, by virtue of the multiple sites of identification and situatedness, associated with diasporic and migrant identities, simultaneously local and global. Rather, in situating the ethnos as part of the wider human community, Newton's text appears to advocate an ethics of global citizenship which considers the interdependent relationship of past and present hegemonies as they are, in turn, simultaneously reconstituted within local and global geographies. The novel has indirect references to the Caribbean, names metaphorically reveal the archipelago's post-Columbian history as a palimpsest of multiple discursive sites, which are nonetheless subsumed by the meta-narrative of European colonial history as an unrelenting struggle for power, conquest, supremacy, and dominance. As we delve deep into the intricacies of Anikantwad, it affirms the possibilities of diverse attributes in a unitary entity. This comes subsequent to the muddle stirred up by the argument that if plurality of energies can be in possession of a self-identical entities without offense to logic, why should the specter of logical incongruity be raised in the case of a permanent cause retaining varied power? Austerely, nothing is either an absolute unity nor is it split up into an irresistible plurality. There is no opposition between unity of being and plurality of aspects. Also, for every different effect, there is a corresponding differential change in the causal stuff, which is directly and unconditionally responsible for the emergence of the effect. Pure logic prior to and independent of experience is a blind guide to the determination of truth. Logic is to
Dr. Yamisha,
rationalize and
would you like to
systematize.
wind up now? Would you like to wind up now in about a minute's time?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. What and systematize what experience offers. All our conceptual knowledge is ultimately driven from experience. It aids in making indefinite knowledge definite, and that is the only knowledge that is required by the subject for its conviction and progress of thought. Even if the knowledge that something exists is not capable of being derived from any other source, the existence and behavior of things and their mutual relationship can be ascertained only on the basis of experience. And the function of reason of your logic is only to reduce the data of experience to order and systematize. The assertion of existence in reference to its own context and denial of existence in reference to a different context, singularity and in combination, are also admitted with the factual characterization of reals, which are self-distinguished in nature. And I'll just end with D.K.C. Bhattacharya's quote, which says that the determinate existence is being and negation as distinguishably together by what Jain calls pramarpana. The given indefinite, the unspeakable or avakta, here as it has been called, as distinct from the definite existence, presents something other than consecutive togetherness. It implies saharpana or co-presentation, which amounts to non-distinction or indeterminate distinction of being and negation. It is objective as given. It cannot be said to be not a particular position to be non-existent. At the same time, it is not a definite distinction of position and existence. It represents a category by itself. So, with that, I think I've been able to give some synopsis of the entire paper and touched upon broad aspects. Thank you so much for the time and for accommodating this.
Thank you, Dr. Yamanisha. I think now you will have to rush to your boarding gate. Okay,
Yes.
you've really brought Anikantavad concepts to impinge on today's social awakening regarding sexual issues, which has been the forefront in the Indian judiciary system. Thank you. I'm sure that your paper will form an integral part of thought process for all the participants in this seminar. Thank you, Dr. Yamanisha. Now I request Renu
Thank you so
Chodia.
much.
Yeah, you can please switch off your video, man. Thank you, participants, for being part of the seminar. I request Renu to take over.
You're on mute, Renu auntie. Jai Jinendra, Mrs. Preeti Nirmal Kumar Jain. She resides in Hawaii, USA. A research scholar, she is doing her PhD from Tirthankar Mahavir University and she completed her MA from Department of Jainology, University of Madras. Over to you, Mrs. Preeti Nirmal.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. प्रभु महावीर के चरणों में कोटिशा वंदन. Respected teachers, my dear friends, सभी को सादर जय जिनेन्द्र. So let me share my PPT once. This one, right? Yeah.
Can you be a bit more audible, Preeti? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear now?
Yes.
Okay. So as you see, my
Your
topic
time will be
is
10 minutes. Preeti, thank you.
yeah. Yes, sir. So as you see, the topic is like beyond psychology, which is contemporary Jain practices in healing psychosomatic illnesses. Now, this creates a curiosity like, what could it be, right? So, when we see this screen, what do we see? We see like a lot of information is there. We have stress, emotional dysregulation, behavior patterns, but that's how today's life is. We are all surrounded by so much of information. So, there is like before I start, as you see, like this is the life that we have right now. So, but amongst all of these chaos in this crisis, we can still be at peace, right? Who wouldn't want to be happy? Who wouldn't want to be at peace? Everybody. But the path is lost. People don't know how we can get to it. But Jinwani mein, Bhagwan Mahavir has like, showed us many, many, many pathways, and I'm here to explore some of them. So, what we see today is like modern health challenge. In mainly, it is like the health. Anything results, and everything comes down to our health. And why is this happening? Is because of the overstimulation. Overstimulation of the five sensory organs. So it can be like any gadgets, like any of the binge watching we have sleep deprivation because of that, we have stress. So everything comes boils down to uh, overstimulation of the sensory organs, which affects our mind and which affects our physical health in turn. So this is a model that I just formed, where like we have the triggering factor overstimulation, which leads to neurobiological dysregulation. Then that in turns leads to emotional dysregulation or behavioral dependence. And that in turn leads to psychosomatic illness. And what do? We focus on symptoms and we treat symptoms. And what happens? The solution is not there. So it again repeats. The cycle repeats on and on and on because we are not looking at the root cause. So what is the root cause? So this is similar. This is we can see like this is neuroscience. How does this work? How does it work neuroscientifically? So this is similar to substance dependence. Like chronic stimulation alters dopamine release, but without an external chemical where a person loses control over one's behavior and it becomes habitual. It becomes compulsive. So after a time, the body develops a behavioral pattern, meaning you go back to it again and again and again. That's how like the binge watching, etc., happens, for example. And why do we do? To satisfy our craving. And how do we restore this imbalance? How do we stop this craving? So by neuroscientifically, like we see like through neuroplasticity, we can strengthen executive networks. But if you look at this image, what does it say? Like when you come connect it with karma, it's like man vachan kaya, the behavior, the intention, our bhav, our vyavhar, that leads to the psychological state. And when it is regulated with ethical restraint, then the neurophysiological changes that occurs leads to positive, like good health, psychosomatic outcome. Okay, but if it is not handled with, but if it is handled with impulsive behavior, then we may end up, if it is unethical, we may end up with dysregulation, right? So this is a research gap that I have, where like neuroscience and spiritual traditions, but where is an integrative model? There is none. So that's the gap we have here, and I'll try my best to bridge the gap. So we see here like Jain philosophical parallel, like we have our we see Manvachan Kaya, right? Like we have the yoga, which accumulates karmic accumulation and which leads to we experience suffering. And in Jain concept, how do what do we see? How do we handle it? Like we when we understand the ashra, bandha, samvar, nirjara, then we are able to regulate our mind, our behavior, our speech, and we can solve the problem. Like we can come back to uh, come out of this regulation. So how can we do that? That is through Jain contemplative practices. So now there are many ways. Jinwani is vast and vast and vast. So I cannot mention all, right? So I will. I have chosen a few, which is ahimsa, sayam, tap, right? And with also like many of our speakers from in the seminar, we have observed that many of them covered most of the topics like bara anupreksha, we have samadhi, we have aparigraha, be it bhakti. Bhakti is also a kind of a way how to solve the problem. So and we have tapasya, diet. But in this like so any kind of those practices we do, we have to do with sahajta, because Bhagwan Mahavir always never said, you know he always preached ahimsa. And what we do, like, because like we have, because of being ignorant, um, we try to do like, what do we say, like, हम खुद को तकलीफ देते हैं, we do himsa on ourselves, like, no, I should do this, नहीं. Parishajay is what is overcoming the hurdles, overcoming the problems, but he never said like, you should torture yourself. No, आप वही करो जो आपसे सहजता से हो, right? So any practice that you see, every practice focuses on managing your kashayas, your emotions, your awareness, control of control over your impulses, right? So that's how we can connect with psychology and Jain practices. And how do we enhance, like, how do we say like this is the correct one, this is the right one, क्या proof है, like, how do we connect? It's जिनवानी, जिस जो भगवान ने बताया है वो है like सम्यक ज्ञान, सम्यक दर्शन, सम्यक चारित्र से, जिससे हमें cognitive clarity मिलती है, accurate self understanding मिलती है, and behavioral regulation होता है, right? Yeah. So this is to summarize. I think I finished too quickly. Sorry. So this is to summarize, like, you have the modern challenges, like the I had chosen seven. So chronic stress and anxiety, addictive behaviors, sleep disturbances, insomnia, popularly known as insomnia, then emotional instability, loneliness, and psychosomatic illness. And when we deal these challenges through the contemplative framework of Jainism, we like Samayik, it teaches us equanimity, being mindful. When we do Pratikraman, through Pratikraman, we do ethical reflection, repentance, and we try to clear our karmas, right? Next is the Swadhyay, which is like self study, cognitive restructuring. And when we know the true knowledge, it becomes easy to regulate our thought processes, emotions, feelings, and our behavior changes accordingly. Our actions changes accordingly. Then tapa, which is fasting and self-discipline, it has its own importance. It's very vast, and I'm sure like uh, the previous speaker had, I think Dr. Paragji had explained this very well. Then ahimsa, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Anyway, so ahimsa
All
is
questions
like
will be Preeti. All questions will be at the end of the when we ending up the morning session. So there'll be no questions right now. They'll be handled through Dr. Priyadarshana ma'am. Thank you. Please
Okay.
continue and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the next, what we like, what do we benefit from practicing these Jain practices? Is like the neuroscientific benefits will be enhanced emotional regulation, improved impulse control, increased attention stability, focus will be increased, and neuroplasticity and resilient. We will have a resilient mind, and that will lead to psychophysiological equilibrium, bringing in inner balance and well-being. So thank you everybody. You know, before I sign off, just a small thing that I would like to share. A mind that learns restraint becomes a mind that heals itself. You know, as it's a core mechanism from Trisha Dhyan, and which very much aligns with this one. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti Nirmal Kumar Jain. Um, your talk was well received about healing psychosomatic illness through day-to-day practices of pramanic, pratikaman, etc. Okay. Now we'll carry the session forward. Dr. Priya ma'am, you wanted to say something? Okay. I'll request Renu to introduce Dr. Kinjal Shah. Thank you.
Dr. Kinjal Shah. She's an expert on Jain manuscripts, an assistant professor in Prakrit language, literature, and Jain philosophy and its traditions. She has keen interest in classical languages. Over to you, Dr. Kinjal Shah.
Thank you very much, ma'am. A very good morning to everyone, all speakers, all.
Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself, Dr.
Yeah,
Kinjal Shah.
yeah, I already unmuted. Can I hear my voice?
No, there is no voice from you.
Okay.
No, there is a voice. Audio.
There is a voice.
You can hear Dr. Kinjal.
Uh,
Carry
can
on,
you hear
Kinjal.
me?
Yes. Carry on, please.
Carry on.
Okay,
You're
thank
audible
you
now.
very much. Yeah, oh, thank you so much. Very good morning to all of you, all seminars members, all authorities person, and all speakers. Shall I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am, you can do so from your end, and you'll have 10 minutes time, and we'll intimate you at the 9th minute. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. My topic is जैन धर्म के परिप्रेक्ष्य में कर्म सिद्धांत. जैन दर्शन और जैन धर्म के परिप्रेक्ष्य में कर्म सिद्धांत. प्रस्तुत शोध आलेख जैन दर्शन के सर्वाधिक मौलिक स्तंभ कर्म सिद्धांत का अन्वेषण करता है. अन्य दर्शनों से विपरीत जैन विद्या में कर्म केवल एक प्रक्रिया न होकर एक सूक्ष्म भौतिक द्रव्य है. यह शोध पत्र आचार्य उमास्वाति विरचित तत्वार्थ सूत्र को आधार बनाकर कर्मों की सिद्धांतता, कर्म की आश्रव संबंध बंध की प्रक्रिया, निर्जरा से आत्मा की शुद्धि का विश्लेषण करता है. शोध का मेरा निष्कर्ष मैं पहले ही बता देती हूँ कि जैन कर्म सिद्धांत व्यक्ति को भाग्य के भरोसे न छोड़कर पुरुषार्थ की ओर प्रेरित करता है. भारतीय दार्शनिक परंपरा में कर्म शब्द एक व्यापक अर्थ रखता है. जहां सांख्य, योग और वेदांत में कर्म को अदृष्ट के रूप में देखा है, वहां जैन दर्शन में एक विशिष्ट भौतिक तत्व के रूप में इसका स्वीकार करते हैं. जैन आगम के अनुसार संसार का प्रत्येक जीव अनंत शक्ति और ज्ञान का पुंज है, किंतु वह कर्म रूपी धूल से ढका हुआ है. जैन दर्शन भारतीय दर्शन परंपरा का एक प्राचीन और वैज्ञानिक दर्शन है. इसमें कर्म सिद्धांत को अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण स्थान प्राप्त है. कर्म सिद्धांत यह स्पष्ट करता है कि जीव अपने कर्मों का स्वयं करता है और उन्हीं कर्मों के अनुसार सुख दुख या जन्म मरण की अवस्थाएं प्राप्त करता है. हम आगे देखेंगे कर्म का स्वरूप, उसका पुद्गल, उसका सिद्धांत. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में कर्म. तो हम सोचते हैं कि कर्म क्या है. सामान्य रूप से कर्म क्या होता है, तो कि सामान्यतः कर्म कोई भी क्रिया कर्म कहलाती है। प्रत्येक हलन चलन जीव का मानसिक, शारीरिक और वाचिक क्रिया भी कर्म है। जैसे जैन परंपरा में कर्म के साथ बंध, मैंने आगे बोला, उसके साथ कर्म और उसका कारण हेतु भी शामिल होता है। जैसे मीमांसा दर्शन में यज्ञ आदि को कर्म कहते हैं, गीता में वर्णाश्रम आदि आश्रम के अनुसार जानने वाली जो क्रिया होती है उसको कर्म कहते हैं। बौद्ध धर्म में चेतना को ही कर्म कहते हैं। तो हम जैन दर्शन की बात आज करने वाले हैं। तो कि जैन धर्म के अनुसार, जैन दर्शन के अनुसार कर्मवाद, कर्म क्या है? तो कि जैन दर्शन के अनुसार जीव और अजीव ये दो द्रव्य का समूह है, उससे संसार बनता है। जैसे जीव पर कर्मों के संयोग से सुख दुख की विभिन्न अवस्थाएं उत्पन्न होती है। जैसे कर्म जीव, बंधन कर्म जीव, कैसे कारण, किस कारण से कर्म जीव का बंध करता है? तो कि मिथ्यात्व, अविरति, कषाय या इंद्रिय विषय कषाय और योग, ये चार मुख्य कारण है। और कर्म बंध चार प्रकार से होता है, यानी कि प्रकृति, स्थिति, रस और प्रदेश। प्रकृति यानी क्या? तो कि कर्म का स्वभाव या प्रकार, उसको प्रकृति कहते हैं। यह बताता है कि कौन सा कर्म आत्मा से किस गुण से ढका हुआ है। जैसे कि हाँ, कर्म आत्मा, जैसे कि ज्ञान गुण को ढकता है तो उसको नानावर्णीय कर्म कहते हैं। दर्शन गुण को ढकता है तो उसको दर्शनावर्णीय कर्म कहते हैं। आगे हम उसकी स्लाइड देखने वाले हैं। जैसे हम बात करेंगे अभी स्थिति की, तो स्थिति क्या है? तो कि स्थिति का अर्थ है कर्म का आत्मा के साथ टिके रहना, उस यानी कि काल, उसको स्थिति बोलते हैं। जैसे कर्म आत्मा के साथ कितने समय तक, समान समय तक नहीं रहता है। कुछ कर्म ऐसे होते हैं जो अल्प काल में रहते हैं, कुछ वो दीर्घ काल से आत्मा के साथ जुड़ा रहता है। वही हम बात करने वाले। तो कि रस, रस को क्या बोलते हैं? कि कर्म कितना प्रभाव डालता है जीव पे। और प्रदेश को बोलते हैं कर्म कितनी मात्रा में बंधा हुआ है। जैसे हम कोई भी कर्म कर रहे हैं तो किस उसका भाव उस समय हमारा क्या होगा, उससे हमको पता चलता है कि वो कर्म कितने समय तक और कितनी मात्रा में हमने वो कर्म का बंध किया है। जैसे नेक्स्ट हम देखने वाले हैं कि कर्म विपाक की आवश्यकता है, यानी कि कर्म का फल या कर्म का परिणाम क्या होता है। जैन दर्शन का मौलिक सिद्धांत है कि जो जीवन में विषमता है, यानी कि जन्म मरण का चक्र चलता ही रहता है। हम लोग को पता है कि 84 लाख योनि है, जैसे जैन जैन दर्शन में यह है। हम लोग 7 लाख बोलते हैं तो उसमें हम यही बात बोलते हैं। तो यहाँ के स्वरूप, जैसे कि स्वरूप में सभी जीव समान होते हैं। जैसे आत्मा है, सब शुद्ध आत्मा है, पर अपने अपने कर्म से उसने कर्म का जो 8 कर्म है उसके हिसाब से आवरण से ढका हुआ है। जब आवरण निकल जाएगा, सब कर्म नाश हो जाएंगे, तो वो जीव शुद्ध कहलाएंगे। तो जैसे कि यहाँ की कोई राजा, हम लोग देख ही रहे हैं कि अभी हमारे बीच में, हमारे सामाजिक व्यवस्था में कोई राजा है, या राजा अभी कोई राजा नहीं है, तो हम लोग उसी पदस्थ अवस्था को हम देखने वाले। जैसे कोई राजा है, कोई रंग है, कोई देव है, कोई नारद है, ये 4 गति है। तो गति किस हिसाब से मिलती है हमको? हमारे कर्मों से मिलती है ना। तो जो 4 गति, वो देव गति है, मनुष्य गति है, तिर्यंच गति है और नरक गति है। तो ये सा डिफरेंस आया कहाँ से? बिकॉज कर्म हर एक जीव अपने हिसाब से बंद करता है, इसके हिसाब से उसको वो गति मिलती है। यानी इस पार्ट निश्चय या विविधता का कारण कोई अदृश्य शक्ति होनी चाहिए। वो अदृश्य शक्ति क्या है? वो कर्म का विपाक है। तो जैसे कर्म किसे कहते हैं? कर्मबद्ध की प्रक्रिया की बात करें हम, जीव के चारों ओर विद्यमान अति सूक्ष्म पुद्गल कण होते हैं। जैसे कि संसारी जीव अपनी क्रिया से, हम आगे के लास्ट जो स्पीकर थे उन्होंने हमको बताया कि मन वचन काया था। तो यही हमारे जैन दर्शन में हर एक क्रिया से मन वचन काया से ही जुड़ी हुई है। तो संसारी जीव अपनी क्रिया से, मन वचन काया से कारण इन कार्बन वर्गन का पुद्गलों को आकर्षित करता है। जब ये पुद्गल आत्मा के साथ एक रूप हो जाता है, एक रूप यानी कि दूध और पानी, एक बार दूध में पानी मिक्स हो जाए तो हम लोग उसको अलग नहीं कर पाते हैं, वो एक रस हो जाता है। यही क्रिया को हम कर्म बंध कहते हैं। और आत्मा से बंध चुके यह सूक्ष्म सूक्ष्म भौतिक कण ही कर्म कहलाते हैं। कर्म को क्यों मानना चाहिए, ये भी होता है ना। तो कि संसार का ये जो वैश्विक कारण है, विविध विविध कारण है संसार के, यानी कि स्थिति हम लोग ने आगे बात की, स्वभाव, कोई ज्ञानी है तो कोई मूर्ख है, यानी और तीसरा ये गति। ये सारी विविधता हम देखते ही हमारे आसपास। ये विविधता बिना कारण तो नहीं हो सकती है। तो उससे हमको कर्मों को मानना ही चाहिए। जैसे कि जीव और कर्म का अनादि संबंध, इसकी उपमा हम लोग सोना और सुवर्ण और माटी से करते हैं। अनादिकालीन स्थिति है, सोना अनादिकाल से अपनी माटी से अशुद्ध होता है। जब उसको शुद्धि हम अग्नि आती है, गर्म होता है, माटी दूर हो जाती है और सुवर्ण शुद्ध सुवर्ण निकलता है। यही जीव और कर्म का संबंध है। अभी आत्मा है, 8 गुण है, जो हम शुद्ध आत्मा बोलते हैं, उसके 8 गुण है। यानी कि अनंत ज्ञान, आप स्क्रीन में देख सकते हैं, अनंत दर्शन, अनंत चारित्र, अनंत वीर्य, अनंत सुख, अजर अमरता, अरूपीपना और अगुरु लघुता। इन सारे गुणों को ढकने वाले हैं ये 8 कर्म: ज्ञानावरण, दर्शनावरणीय, अंतराय, मोहनीय, आयुष्य, नाम, गोत्र, वेदनीय। और 4 कर्म जो घाती है और 4 कर्म अघाती कहलाते हैं। मुख्य कर्म के वर्गीकरण 2 है, यानी कि कर्म का, हाँ, 2 कर्म, घाती कर्म और अघाती कर्म। तो घाती कर्म को क्या कहेंगे? आत्मा को सीधे बाधित करने वाले कर्म को हम घाती कर्म कहेंगे। वो 4 है: मोहनीय कर्म है, ज्ञानावरणीय कर्म है, दर्शनावरणीय कर्म है, अंतराय कर्म है। मैं थोड़ा स्पीड में जाऊंगी बिकॉज टाइम नहीं है, मुझे ज्यादा टाइम भी नहीं लेना है, सबको पता ही है। अघाती कर्म क्या होता है कि आत्मा को प्रत्यक्ष बाधित नहीं करते हैं, अप्रत्यक्ष करते हैं। तो उसको मैं वेदनीय, आयुष्य, नाम और गोत्र। वेदनीय क्या है हमको पता है, यहाँ पे मैंने एक शॉर्ट में दिया हुआ है: आयुष्य, नाम शरीर की रचना आदि, और गोत्र यानी कि हमारी सामाजिक स्थिति। अभी हम ज्ञानावरणीय कर्म की बात करेंगे तो ज्ञानावरणीय कर्म आत्मा से ज्ञान 5 प्रकार के होते हैं: मति, शुद्ध, अवधि, मनः, परेत और केवल ज्ञान। इन पांचों को, इन कर्मों को ढकने वाले को ज्ञान, ज्ञान और आवरण, आवरण यानी ढकने वाला, ज्ञान तो हमारा जो शुद्ध ज्ञान है वो। इसके कारण आत्मा को वास्तविक जो ओरिजिनल ज्ञान है वास्तविक वो प्रकट नहीं होता है। तो उसकी एक फॉर्मूला, यानी कि वो एक सेंटेंस में बताया है जैन दर्शन में कि ये ज्ञान कैसा है। तो कि आंखों में हम जब पट्टी बांध देते हैं तो कैसा फील होता है, आंख है बट हमने पट्टी बांध दी है, वैसा ये है। फिर हम दर्शनावरणीय कर्म का बात करते हैं कि दर्शन 4 प्रकार के होते हैं: चक्षु, अचक्षु, अवधि एंड केवल। और इसमें 5 प्रकार की निद्रा भी शामिल है: निद्रा, निद्रा निद्रा, प्रचला, प्रचला प्रचला एंड अदर। ये कर्म आत्मा की दर्शन क्षमता को बाधित करते हैं। तो इसकी स्थिति कैसी है? तो कि मदिरा पान करने के बाद जो महसूस
Ma'am, you have 1 minute more, ma'am. Teacher,
ओ,
ma'am.
ओके 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 ओके, मैं कंक्लूड ही करती हूँ यहाँ पे। लास्ट में मैं बोल देती हूँ कि कर्मग्रंथ का पहला ही श्लोक है: सिरि वीर जिनम वंदीय कम्म विवायम समातो उच्चम किरई जीएणम हेउइम जेणम तो भण्णई कम्मम। और जैसे कि हम आत्मा से शुद्ध, मिथ्यात्व, अविद्या, प्रमाद और कषाय यानी कि क्रोध, मान, माया, लोभ हमारे आत्मा से चले जाएंगे। और हम ये, जैसे हम शुद्ध आत्मा की तरफ प्रयाण करेंगे, वही हमारा शुद्ध और कर्म का जानने का प्रयास होगा। मैं ग्रुप में जो मैम मुझे अलाउ करेंगी तो मैं पूरी पीपीटी वहां भेज दूंगी। मैं पूरा प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं कर पाई। थैंक यू ऑल, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Dr. Kejal Shah. Yeah, you got a lot of matter, abundant matter with you to share with us. Please do post it on the group, your PPT. It will be well received because you have done extensive work on Karma Siddhant. And before I call the next speaker, Dr. Subhash, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of Mr. Raj, who has joined us from USA. He is managing the entire recordings, and he has given me a very good hint, in fact, to everybody, that there's a timer which is operating on the screen for all speakers, and you can utilize it to monitor the progress of your talk. So, Dr. Subhash, would you like to please, before I would like to introduce Dr. Subhash.
Dr. Subhash is from USA and he has completed MA and PhD from Department of Jainology, University of Madras. He has also published a book on karma theory. Over to you, Dr. Subhash.
Okay, can I share the screen? Can
Sir,
you see
there's
my?
no. Yes, yes, sir. You're audible now, sir. So you'll have 10 minutes time, Dr. Subhash, and
Can you can
No,
you
no,
see
you have
my
to share.
screen?
You have to click and share it, sir. We haven't shared yet.
Oh, can you share it?
you'll have to do it from your end, sir.
I uh, how do I
It is visible now, your screen.
visible?
Yes.
But I can't. Okay, let me see
You have to
whether I
load your
can.
PPT now, sir.
My PPT is gone, boy. I just can't believe it. Huh. Give me a second.
Sir, or would we like to call Sri LC Jain, sir, and then you can come for the next talk, sir.
Okay. Yeah, call somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Subhash will come next. I would like to request Sri LC Jain to and Renu to introduce Sri LC Jain. Thank you.
Shri L.C. Jain, a senior scholar and a fellow of JAS, Jain Academy of Scholars, Ahmedabad. Over to you, Shri L.C. Jain, sir.
Sri LC Jain, sir.
LC Jain sir is on mute.
हाँ सर, yeah.
हाँ
सुभाष जी, आप अपना स्क्रीन शेयर बंद कर देंगे?
So I read the topic of my talk is Jain ethical principles and their strengths and limitations in modern crucial times. सुनाई दे रहा भाई? Everybody listen.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir. Sir, you have to switch on your mic, sir. I think you switched it off, sir. Sir, can you unmute yourself, sir? Sri LC Jain, sir.
हाँ मैंने किया है अनम्यूट तो किया है
हाँ,
मैंने
अभी अभी हो गया सर
हाँ
अभी
हाँ हाँ
चालू करिए वापस चालू करिए सर
हाँ जी हाँ
सर यू हैव 10 minutes टाइम सर
Okay.
थैंक यू
So the analysis combines doctrinal exegesis with applied ethical reasoning to assess how genetics can contribute to resolving problems such as environmental crisis, social polarization, economical inequality, technological disruption, and bioethical dilemma. As we have limited time, I escape definitions of these and directly I read the strengths of Jain ethics in modern context. Ahimsa and Aparigraha together form a compelling ethic for ecological sustainability. The Jain emphasis on minimal harm and reduced consumption aligns with contemporary calls for lower carbon life cycles, biodiversity, protection and sustainability resources use. Practices such as vegetarianism, careful use of resources, and respect for all life forms present practical modes for environmental conscious living. Number two, Anekantwad offers a philosophical foundation for pluralism and interface dialogue. In polarized political climates, the doctrines encouragement of considering multiple perspectives supports conflict resolution, democratic deliberation, and an ethic of
OTP pucha.
listening. Number three, Ahimsa has both symbolic and pragmatic value for non-violent social movements and peace building. Its moral clarity can inspire movements against oppression and violence while providing strategic grounded in principle restraint. Number four, upper grade directly addresses overconsumption and consumerism incentives underlying many global problems. Number five, the Jain linking of passions to moral consequences offers a psychological theory of ethical failure and recovery. Reducing attachment and anger reduces harmful action. This insight is valuable for intervention in addiction, violence prevention, and ethical education. Now I read out the limitations and challenges. While Jain ethics excellently shapes individual behavior, many contemporary problems require systematic and institutional responses. Jainism's traditional emphasis on personal renunciation mm, may underemphasize collective political action or policy oriented strategies necessary for large scale transformations. Number two, in complex moral situations, public health, military defense, or ecological interventions that harm our organism, strict application of ahimsa can ambiguous or impractical. Jain thought includes graded rules and context sensitive judgments, but translating these into public policy presents difficulties. Number three, Africa and aesthetic ideas may conflict with modern development goals for livelihood, employment, and technological progress. Strict non-possessiveness is challenging for people in competitive economic or for those needing material accumulation for social mobility and well-being. Number four, contemporary technologies, AI, genetic engineering, biomedical research pose novel ethical questions that classical Jain texts did not anticipate. Applying Jain categories helps but may lack specific procedural guidance on risk, consent, and distribution of benefits. Number five, emphasis on asceticism and renunciation can, in some contexts, encourage withdrawal from political life or optimistic reliance on individual virtue rather than building inclusive institutions. Then I put before you recommendations for contemporary applications. Number one, institutionalize non-violence principles. Translate ahimsa into institutional norms, e.g., procurement policies favoring cruelty-free supply chains, ethical impact assessment. Number two, scale aparigraha into policy. Encourage policy tools that reduce consumption on pollution, support for sharing economics, promote anekantavad in education, teach epistemic humility and perspective taking in schools and civic forums to counter polarization. Number three, promote Anekantwad in education, teach epistemic humility and perspective taking in schools and civic forums to counter polarization. That is all I want to say, and I thank thank lot of thanks to the organizer, Madam Dr. Priyadarshana ji. I am so happy she has organized, and I wanted to be present there, but due to my personal difficulties, I could not attend the seminar. I missed it, so I am very sorry for that. And I hope next time, sometimes, when again such a nice seminar will be organized by Dr. Priyadarshana ji, I shall be happy to join. So for the present, I thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. L.C. Jain. Your topic on ethical reasoning with application to practical Jainism has been really well received, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of more deliberations to follow. Now, I request Renu to introduce Dr. Subhash Jain. I hope he has got his PPT ready to be loaded. Over to Renu.
Yes.
I once again welcome Dr. Subhash from USA, who has completed his MA and PhD from Department of Jainology, University of Madras, and he's also published a book on karma theory. Over to you, Mr. Subhash.
Okay, can you
Subhash
see
sir,
my
you
screen?
have 10
Can,
minutes time, sir. Subhash sir, you have
can
10
you
minutes time. The time will be visible on your screen, sir. Thank you.
can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. It's visible. Thank you, sir. Please start.
Okay. The title of my talk is Motivation for Non-Violent Living with Less. The glory of any darshan, including Jainism, lies in its universal principles. The core Jain principles, such as ahimsa and aparigraha, were revived by Mahavir in 6th century BC. While always meaningful, their impact has evolved. In earlier times, with a small population and serene environment, these principles benefited primarily those practicing nonviolence and minimalism. Today, however, with population explosion and ecological crisis, the adoption of a nonviolent minimalist lifestyle by a significant elite who overconsume resources is crucial. Such a shift would not only benefit them but offer a global solution to the ecological crisis supporting all living beings and the environment. Before discussing nonviolent living with less and the environmental crisis, I will briefly recount the event that led me to adopt a minimalist lifestyle, one that focuses on basic needs and rejects excessive consumption for social status. This occurred in the fall of 2021 while teaching a course on Jainism at the University of Dayton. After explaining the reincarnation process and the four gatis and the possibility of discerning one next gati through introspection, I felt compelled to examine my own past actions. Concerned about one bad action, I concluded I needed to reduce my karmic debt to ensure Manushgati in my next life. I decided to live as a Nashtik Shavak, pursuing the 11 Pratimas. Jain leaders in the USA advised me to pursue this path at home due to my age. Following their advice, I live as a celibate in a one room studio in an intentional community practicing minimalism. I wear one type of clothing, sleep on a takhat, practice intermittent fasting with a vegan diet, and dedicate most of my time to Swadhyaya. This rejection of consumerism, a source of stress and discontent from the constant pursuit of possessions, fosters my spiritual growth and inner peace. Most Jains consume excessive natural resources. Advocating vegetarianism and ahimsa alone is insufficient for the environmental crisis. The practice of Aprikriya including Digvrat and Bhogabhog Parimanvrat, is crucial for resource conservation and controlling more. Despite Jain teachings of vegetarianism, ahimsa, and aparigraha that support the environment, The elite jet community misuses natural resources. This disconnect stems from this misconception that the material wealth is a karma determined reward for past action, making overconsumption seem ethical. The proof of this misconception follows. Now, I'm not going to give this proof because this proof is given in my book on karma, and I'm short of time, so I will skip the proof, and you can read this proof in my book. And then I will go to the spiritual growth. The soul purifies, decreasing moh and karmic debt, enable spiritual growth, which we know is when we climb Gunasthana, we have a spiritual growth. Jain principle like Ahimsa Vrat and Aprigraha Vrat, including Digvrat and Bhog Pariban Vrat, minimize moh and karmic debt, and their widespread adoption could significantly address the environmental crisis. The Ahimsa Vrat is the vow to abstain from hurting, harming, injuring, or killing any living being directly or indirectly. This vrata controls moho and prevents biodiversity loss. The Aprigrah Vrat is the vow to abstain from the passion to possess material things. It minimizes more and the depletion of natural resources. The Digvrat limits the area of a person's activity, curbing travel conveyance use. Adopting this vrata reduces more and the emission of greenhouse gases. The Bhog Parinam Vrat limits the use of consumable and non-consumable goods. Following this vrat controls desires and hence more and promotes social harmony through restrained consumerism. Faith in reincarnation, bolstered by research into past life remembrance, near death experiences, and related phenomena, leads to the belief that the present life purpose is to cultivate a purer soul for the next life. Consequently, those who hold this belief will naturally pursue a minimalist lifestyle and the four vratas. The core of the Jain philosophy is that the sole purpose of life is soul development, which is currently impure due to moh. Purity is achievable in subsequent rebirths by minimizing moh in the present life through a non-violent minimalist lifestyle and vows like Ahimsa Vrat, Aprigraha Vrat, Digvrat, and Pariman Vrat. Additionally, this non-violent minimalist approach helps address the current environmental crisis. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Subhash Jain. In fact, I have a small secret to share. Uh, when we had gone on the heritage tour of the department in West Bengal and Orissa, we were all very pleasantly surprised to see you, sir, swinging on the tree. I mean, at your age, we are all very concerned, but you are in your youth. You're exhibiting a youth. I'm sure that with your minimalistic lifestyle, it's really a great, wonderful opportunity to see a living example of you practicing. Rather, it's like walking the talk. Thank you, Dr. Subhash Jain. You have been so kind to join us and spare your time for us.
Thank
Now
you
I
so much.
request Dr. Priya ma'am to give her concluding
Yeah.
remarks.
Subhaji,
Shri
can you
Kailash
stop
Prasad
sharing?
Dugar, would you like to give your brief introduction, sir? Shri Kailash Prasad Dugar, if you can come online, sir, uh, for your remarks, sir. Will be our honor and privilege to listen to you, sir.
He's left, I think.
Okay.
He was
Yes,
there
ma'am.
in the
You can.
morning.
You can continue, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. So, anybody else now, other than Anubhav, Shastri?
No, ma'am. After you
Okay.
conclude, then Nitin will deliver the vote of thanks, and then last
Okay.
speaker for today will be Anubhav ji.
Okay. 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 I okay. चलो सबसे पहले तो first of all I would like to thank the people who showed interest in the seminar, who registered for the seminar, who sent their abstracts, and please all of you give your address so that we'll post you the book of abstracts and you will love to see it. And we depending on the papers we receive and after the editorial we'll request the research foundation to help us in bringing out the proceedings of the seminar. So it was a wonderful interaction. Everybody's all praised for, and it was like a marathon for 2 days. All of them just being given just 15 minutes or 10 minutes. But there were a lot of youngsters, who came and they said it was nice to listen to a wide spectrum of topics. And it is in so many ways that we can look at things. So this was the beauty of the seminar. And everybody also enjoyed the heritage trip. It was a 2 days trip. So, and you all have shown your interest, continued interest in the seminar, and you have chosen to participate online. So I welcome you all and I thank you all. Welcome and all has happened. I thank you all for your interest. And this is only a beginning. Many such events should be organized around the globe to spread the awareness of Jainism and not just stop with Jains talking only to the Jains. So we need to do a lot of things, and each paper had the potential that everybody could listen to them for an hour, but no justice was done to any paper, but it opened a lot of avenues for thought and for research. So this is the remark of the sessions. And right now, Preeti from Hawaii and Subhash from US and LC Jain sir, who is very regular in our other classes, he's joined. So thank you, sir, for your participation. Preeti's topic is a very relevant one on the and Kinjal, of course, Kinjal. I was looking forward from a talk on manuscriptology from Kinjal, but she chose to speak about the Karma Siddhanta.
Sure,
So
ma'am. Next time I will do.
yeah, I was looking forward because that manuscriptology area I thought you will cover. And depending on the looking at the brochure that we had circulated, most of the topics in the brochure that we had circulated have been covered, except the manuscriptology one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So it's okay. We could not communicate to you. That's our problem. Anyway, we look forward for more such things coming up. And my entire team, you all must have seen the seminar on YouTube, right?
Yes,
It was
yes,
a
ma'am.
wonderfully.
It's a
I won't
very
be
much.
praising myself. I'll praise my whole team. So many teams. Again, today in the morning when I just called up message Shanti sir, we have the online session. He said, ma'am, we'll go ahead, don't worry. So that enterprising and that what to say the volunteering spirit of the alumni of the department and the researchers of the department has helped me along with the members of Research Foundation and of course Jazz. So Bandari sir and all are traveling today. Anil sir, Bandari sir, otherwise they all would have been here. Anyway, they will be listening to this recording and they will respond. I look forward to that. So in the evening again we'll have the other speakers and then we will draw the curtains for this seminar. And I thank each one of you. I thank all my team members. And I want to thank Nitin will be doing the vote of thanks. And after that, we'll listen to Anubhavji. So Anubhav's lecture will not be recorded. You all can listen to him. We are not going to record his lecture. Okay? Yeah. Over to Shanti, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Priya, ma'am. It's always a renewed pleasure to listen to you. And uh, uh, I mean, the last 3 months has been a very big mind and eye opener for all of us because we have had a battery of speakers all the way from Dubai and from Jaipur, Pune, and so on. So it's really been an exclusive session for all of us. And I think the main summary of the whole proceedings that everybody was given a time slot of around 10 to 15 minutes. So that really gave us a lot of in-depth understanding on the broader perspectives of applied Jainism, which was the key theme behind the seminar. Thank you. Before I call upon Nitin sir to deliver his vote of thanks, he'll be joining us from Bangalore. Um, uh, Raj from US has been very kind enough to post on the messages group link. Now, we would request everybody to spare 1 minute of your time to please click on this link and give your feedback. See, because feedback helps us to refine our future offerings and also to shape as to what the audience really likes. So that would be really nice of you if you could spare a minute or so and give the feedback through that Google link. I did it yesterday and it took me less than a minute, believe me. Okay. Now, the last speaker for today will be Dr. Anubhav Jain. But before Anubhav G. Jain. But before he talks, due to some technical issues, we'll have Nitin from Bangalore giving his vote of thanks to all of us. And then that will be followed by Anubhav Jain. Over to you, Nitin.
Namaste Debiha, Jai Jinendra friends. I think this one of the remarkable or the milestone conference on the glory of Jainism and its relevance to present times. I think we are on the first third day, I should say, and the first online session. It is. I mean, I would like to. I mean, it has been a remarkable experience being in person and being a part of the entire organizing team. It is definitely a very mind-boggling experience to all of us, and I hope all of you have enjoyed in the same way as much as what we organizers have enjoyed it. And we are seeing those acknowledgements coming up in the form of your messages on the WhatsApp groups. Thank you for that. And having said that, first of all, I would like to thank Priya ma'am, the head of the Department of Jainology, University of Madras, and the University of Madras for helping us organize this. Then the Jain Academy of Scholars and Research Foundation for Jainology for helping us have such a wonderful uh, experience with a lot of exposure. And along with that, I would also like to thank all the scholars, presenters, their family members, volunteers, and many of their family members, basically because we as volunteers and scholars or presenters, we might be doing something, but there's a lot of work that has happened in the background, which goes unnoticed. Apart from these people whom we are in the front, the scholars or presenters or volunteers, I think our family members and our friends and well-wishers who are supporting us, they are the unsung heroes as well, who have contributed directly or indirectly to this entire proceedings of the event. And I would also like to thank the speaker specifically for bringing in such a diverse topics. And like Priya ma'am mentioned, time was a constraint. But yes, how do you present it briefly within 10 to 15 minutes, all your new findings? And you have all done it in a very effective way. I would like to thank each one of you guys and trying to give us the essence of your findings. And definitely, when we publish this in the form of a book, I think we will be able to get further more in-depth details of those. Thank you for all of those people. What I felt doing all during the online sessions was, we say so near so far. So though you are at a very far off distance, many of you are joining from United States, different parts of the world, Hawaii Islands, and different parts of India. Despite being so far, you still appear very closer to us because of the technology, and more than anything, the kind of topics that you guys have chosen, um, they are very relevant and to the current times, and we have all been enlightened by all of your presentations. I would like to thank all of you. Uh, Once again, thank you to everyone, the organizers, presenters, volunteers, scholars, the donors, and everyone who have supported us directly or indirectly. With this, I would like to conclude my vote of thanks. Thank you. Jai Jain.
Thank you, Nitin. It's always a pleasure to listen to you because you have a great ability to be all encompassive and all inclusive. Thank you, Nitin. That's a nice smile on you. Yeah. As you said, technology has really brought us all together and it's really so nice. So now, the last speaker for today, before we wind up, um, for some technical reason, the recording will be stopped now. So please do listen very carefully to Anubhav Jain. I would request Renu to introduce Anubhav Jain.
Recording stopped.
Shri Anubhav Jain, a PhD researcher from SOAS University of London, specializing in philosophy of soul with a focus on its intrinsic metaphysical conceptions. Over to you, Anubhav Jain.
Uh, First of all, I would like to thank Anubhav to share his paper, even though it's a new research area and you have to be very careful about it. Uh, Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, everybody, to invite me for this conference. And such a pity that I'm in India, but I'm not able to be there in Chennai due to some other reasons. It's a very short trip of mine here, and thank you very much, Nitinji. And I'm very happy to see you in this online meeting, and LC Chen Sab and all other people. Okay. So what I'm presenting is something new, and it has two different aspects. One, I should say that I'm reporting something that has already been discovered or rediscovered. And second is my analysis on a colophon and some other manuscripts. This is something that I'm going to discuss today.